Well, this is really terrible news, actually. It's just been announced about 20 minutes ago that in Scotland, they are proposing that they're going to introduce legislation, emergency legislation, that will now forbid landlords from evicting tenants who have not paid or who are struggling to pay their rent. Now, that's crazy because as much as I think it's okay, you know, to protect tenants, but what about the landlords? What about the actual businesses that have got cost? So imagine somebody has not paid your rent for the last 2 months and you're just about to get your Section 8 and your possession. Now the government, if you get your possession like within the next week or two before they pass that emergency legislation, you'll be okay. But if you are thinking about submitting a Section 8 notice, my advice to you would be do it very quickly before they get to that point where they block this eviction. They're talking about a moratorium of eviction for over this winter period. So that means, I mean, winter period, probably September to January, February. You're looking at almost 4, 5, maybe 6 months worth of period of time where your tenant who, for whatever reason, have not paid, you will not be able to evict them. This is COVID over and over again. With COVID, I think everybody understood why that was necessary. But now it's crazy that the Scottish government has elected to do this yet again on the basis that people are struggling to pay their energy bills. But because they can't do anything on the energy bills per se, because they don't set their the budget, they are affecting legislation on landlords because they can. That's ultimately the reason why they are doing it. So if you are, I mean, the challenge now is basically what happens to landlords and in Scotland. The best advice I will give you guys now is basically doing what we are certainly doing here in the UK, in England as well, which is be a lot more discriminate as to who you're lending to, renting to, who do your checks, do all your due diligence, your credit checking, making sure that people can afford the rent that they are, like you're proposing for them to pay. That they've got proof of income, or that universal credit is going to actually be able to meet the cost of the rent. In adjunct to a moratorium on eviction, the Scottish Parliament are also planning to impose a rent freeze as well. So if you are now in the business of renting, your risk has gone up significantly, but also so must your due diligence, your process, and your ability to make sure that the tenant that you're picking hopefully will be a paying and remain a paying tenant for a long period of time. Otherwise, you will find yourself with a business that is not making any income, yet your costs and outgoings remains the same.